it's not on there. And then tell me who you're representing. Are you the applicant, the owner, a member of a different group, or a neighboring property owner, or someone else? And so start with Wes Menzel, who I know is a member of the planning department. Welcome, Wes.
Good morning.
Morning. Move over to, is Andy McLaughlin with us? Andrew McLaughlin. If so, you're on mute and we can't hear you. Okay, come back to Andy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mr. McLaughlin, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, great. And can you tell me, have you down as the owner here, or I'm sorry, the applicant, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And
will you be?
It's me and my partner on it together. Yeah.
Okay. And will you?
Domestic.
I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
Me and my domestic partner, not business partner.
Got it. Okay. And Mr. McLaughlin, will you and your partner be providing any testimony here today?
Only if needed.
Okay. If that time does come, then I will ask you to activate your camera. If you're just observing, it's not necessary, but
Okay.
if you do provide testimony, you will be on camera, just as an FYI. I'll move over to
figure out how to do that.
I'll see if I can send you a prompt. Although it looks like your camera is actually on. Well, maybe not. Okay, there we go. I just asked you to start the video. Looks like your camera was on. There might have been something obstructing the actual camera, or you might not have a camera on your computer. Yeah, so it looks like you're connected to video now, but we can't see anything. So either your camera's not activated, or you don't have one, or there's something obstructing the view. Another option for you is to try to log in through a cellular phone. If you have a smartphone, those often have cameras that can work for these hearings. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to work on that. In the meantime, I'm going to move over to Mr. Ivan Tamarkin. If you could unmute for me.
There, I unmuted.
Great. Could you confirm that is your name and tell me who you're representing here today?
My name is Ivan Tamarkin. I represent myself. I own property at 1857 Walker, which is almost directly across from this proposed building.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
And it looks like we have Andy trying to join through another source here. Mute him on that. I see we have Eric Russo with us today. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric Russo with the Hillside Trust.
Great.
Interested party.
All right. Thanks for being here. Molly Baker is a legal intern with the City Law Department this summer. She will just be observing. Let's see if, okay. Let's see. Great. Could you all unmute on the phone? Great. Okay. And so are you Andrew?
Yes.
Okay. And the gentleman there with you?
That's Corey Ferguson.
Okay. C-O-R-Y?
EY.
E-Y? Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. His name is on the deed of the property.
Got it. Okay. Fantastic. For the applicants and the owners, are you expecting anyone else to join us here today?
No.
Okay, great. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to read through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll get started. So this is the July 10th, 2024 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. Again, my name is David Sturkey. I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the City of Cincinnati. I'll be presiding over the hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20240077. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. So for our purposes here today, I believe Mr. McLaughlin and Mr. Ferguson are the only people that are present on behalf of the applicant or the owner. And so you all have an opportunity to tell me about this project. Any background you think is important. What exactly the relief is that you're requesting and why you think that relief is appropriate and why I should grant it. After you've had that opportunity. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Good. I was just the lot used to have a building on it. I think it was torn down in the 50s. Go ahead.
So yeah, before we get into your actual testimony, I'm just going to finish reading through the script, which will just cover what the whole procedure will be. Then we'll come back in just a moment. I'll jump in and allow you to provide some testimony. So after you've had your opportunity to provide testimony, though, I'll then move to the public. I'll allow Mr. Tamarkin and Mr. Russo to provide any testimony that they would like. I will hear from the planning department and Wes Munzel to provide any testimony in addition to his staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, you'll have an opportunity, Mr. McLaughlin and Mr. Ferguson, to respond to that testimony that was offered in opposition. And then finally, you'll have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, as we've already seen a little bit here, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly. But to the extent there's any defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. The last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So anyone that intends on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, the zoning code requires me to swear those people in. So if you know that that is you right now, I'd like to collectively swear everyone in together. So if you could take yourself off of mute, looks like everyone is off mute already, and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Got it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Mr. McLaughlin, Mr. Ferguson, the floor is yours if you're ready.
Okay. Well, the lot is obviously on 1860 Walker Street. It used to have a building on it before I moved to town. It's been vacant since I moved here in 2000. Just an overgrown lot. We've got it, and the lot is, I believe, 60 or 70 square feet. Too small to be a quote-unquote buildable lot. So we're asking for the variance for the density variance, I guess, for that. And it is on a hill, but the old foundation's still there where the old house used to be. And we'd just like to build it'll be ground floor, be a 2-car garage, and then a 2-level house above it. We've done a lot on the street to try to make it a good street. We've worked hard to get the big retaining wall put behind from Ivan Tamarkin's house all the way down the street to keep Walker Street from falling off the hill, which cost us about $1 million. So and then now we have the Conservancy across the street. We started a nonprofit for a big green space across the street from ours on the same side of the street as 1860. So we're doing what we can to make it a good neighborhood. We think that adding this house will help.
Okay. It looks like you are asking for cut and fill relief of 16 feet. Can you talk any more about that? Or I'm sorry.
26.
It looks like the total proposal here is for a 24-foot cumulative excavation and fill.
Yes.
Can you talk some more about that and why you think that relief is appropriate when the standard is 8 feet?
Well, since there used to be a building in the exact same spot was one of our reasons, and once we get to the level we're digging out, the ground is actually back to level again. So there's doesn't seem to be an issue with any sort of land movement or anything if we do that.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell me about the project before I move to public comment?
I guess I'll wait and hear what other people have to say and respond to those. I suppose would be the best bet.
Okay. We'll move over, Mr. Tamarkin, if you'd like to provide anything.
Yes,
Now's your opportunity.
several things to say. I've owned that property since 1973. I think I bought it. I know Mr. McLaughlin and Corey. We're members of an HOA. We have an HOA for the properties on Walker Street because of the wall and the sewer, and we supposed to. The HOA is we have meetings, and the HOA is supposed to be for the benefit of all the people on Walker Street, and Mr. McLaughlin is a member of that, as well as Corey, as well as the architect who developed these plans, as well as the engineer who owns property right next to where they're building. So this is a group of people on Walker Street that are trying to build one house on a hillside, which is almost directly across from me. And that'll be the only house that'll be built on Walker Street. There could be no other houses built. There's one other one, which is way down the street where Susan Ott worked for the city used to own. And this will be the only one because there's no other room to build. And you're taking away my view and my tenants' views of trees. You're taking away what I believe to be a beautiful hillside. Mr. McLaughlin and Corey, they can't build on them because that's a conservancy. And it was given to, where trust was formed, where that property, it was completely given away, so we can't build on them. And they can build all the way almost up. They can't build almost all the way up to my property. And then you can only build this one house. And I am asking this committee for a continuance so I can get an engineer, because I think that based upon those plans and 46 feet that they're going to go into, that the buffers are not going to stop from dirt coming down into my property, from sill coming down into my property. And I think the purpose of the conservancy was to allow trees all the way down one side of Walker Street. There are no other homes on there. There won't be. There'll be this $1 million home that they plan to probably sell and build. And I think it takes away specifically from the neighborhood. And I think it violates an adverse effect on the papers that I picked up. The applicant's proposal will have a material cumulative adverse effect on the neighborhood. It'll have an effect on the 6 houses that are next to mine. It'll have an effect. Joe Brashear owns 2 of those houses, and I never got notified through the HOA. I've never been notified that they're planning on doing this until I got this notice from the zoning commission about 5-6 days ago. You would think, as members of the HOA and people, Andy McLaughlin even cuts my grass, that they would have notified me of this some time ago. They've probably had it in their works for a year, and I've got no notice of it. And as a member of the HOA, I should have gotten notice of this. It affects, under the HOA, our plans is for the development of our neighborhood. And that affects me. It affects, we're going to have parking issues. they're going to have trucks and construction going on for 6 months, 8 months to a year while this is building. It really affects this neighborhood. And I am requesting a continuance so I can get an engineer to look at this property to see whether or not what the 46 feet they're asking for and the variances they're asking for is a benefit or not a benefit to the community. And will that really take care of the problems with the trees being taken down and the problems with any kind of hillside problem that'll run right into my property? And they know as well as I do that I'm having a building built next door to me. It's an empty lot. And it just upsets me that I got no notice of this, that we could have talked this out through our HOA before they decided to do these plans, so I could have worked with them, but that didn't happen. So I'm asking for continuance so I can get an engineer. I'm willing to pay for one. I'm a retired lawyer, and I believe that it's in the best interest of the city and the best interest of the people on Walker Street not to have this building built without me having time to investigate this, to see whether or not it's in the best interest of the community.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tamarkin. Before we go to Mr. Russo, I do want to give Mr. McLaughlin an opportunity to respond to Mr. Tamarkin's remarks and more particularly to his request for a continuance.
Okay, well, he brought up the HOA. The HOA that we have was only formed for our joint common sewer and retaining wall. Had nothing to do with any other properties other than the ones that have the retaining wall behind them and are connected to the sewer. And the only purpose of that HOA is the sewer. So there was no real reason for me as president of the HOA to mention something about another piece of property that really has nothing to do with the sewer or the retaining wall, because it was thought that the only purpose of the HOA was the retaining wall and the sewer.
So, Mr. McLaughlin, I appreciate that. Let me ask you this. Would you like an opportunity to have these discussions with Mr. Tamarkin or any of the other neighboring property owners to give them more information about the project before we move forward today?
Most of the neighbors are aware of it and are happy that it's happening. Ivan's the only one that I've heard complain. So, I mean, if we need to have more neighbors write letters, do whatever, I've heard nobody complain about it on the street. They're all well aware of what our plan is, and they're excited about it. There's one of the neighbors that actually would like to buy the house if we get it built. So, yeah, it's.
So
I don't.
I can't promise any. I'm sorry. I can't promise any obviously any particular outcome on this case. I can say that public engagement and efforts to engage neighbors and certainly support from neighboring property owners is looked at favorably as I review cases. Also, any technical professionals or people with professional expertise that can speak about hillside stability is also generally helpful on applications like this. And so I will afford you that opportunity to gather some of those things.
We've submitted the geotechnical report with our application. And it was the same geotechnical engineering company that built the retaining wall behind Ivan's house and mine. So he's well aware of the hillside, and he did the geotechnical report and had no issues with that being built there.
So we do have the preliminary geotechnical report. in the application materials, I believe. I suspect that there may be some questions about that report, or just more specific questions about the hillside that someone may be able to answer on the fly. And the next person speaking here is an expert, and I assume may have some of those questions. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Just wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity to bring those people in or to talk to the neighbors before we move forward with the hearing. Is that something you'd like to do?
I mean, if it's helpful, we'll certainly get the neighbors. I didn't realize that we would have any pushback, so we didn't, because none of the neighbors have done anything but voice support for it other than Ivan. So,
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but I know all the neighbors don't know about it.
Well,
Some-
okay.
they live on the, they're well aware of it, Ivan.
So I'd like to avoid
And you can,
crosstalk right now, guys. I think
Right.
what we'll do, what I don't want to do is unnecessarily delay this project. And so I'm sensitive to the fact that you probably would like to move forward with this, but I think a continuance would serve me well in making an informed decision on this. So I'll give you that opportunity. I would encourage you to, if you haven't, to engage with neighbors and perhaps to see if I think it's John Spencer was the architect. At least maybe the architect could join us next time for this hearing. Now, I typically will continue these about 2 weeks, and so today's the 10th. That would put us on the 24th. And so, is that a date that would work for everyone?
I have to check and see about that.
Okay.
That may not give me enough time to hire and have an engineer do a study either.
I know, and I don't think that I'm prepared to continue this in an open-ended format to allow for that, because there's just no telling how long that could take, and I think that would be unfair to the applicant.
I gotta check my calendar. I'll be back in a second.
Sure.
Mr. Sturkey, I've got a hearing that day for Kemper Lane. I'm not sure if that's part of the HOD or not. As long as that doesn't interfere, I can make the 24th as well.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Let me just see what Mr. Tamarkin has to say. I may just put it on, Eric. I think that's my last case of the day that day, so I may just put it on.
July
Right
24th at what time?
I was thinking probably 4 o'clock
That's fine.
would be the
Fine
best
with me.
time. Mr. McLaughlin, can you make the 24th? That's 2 Wednesdays from now at 4 o'clock.
yes.
Okay, great. All right, well, we will continue this in progress. I want to thank everyone for your time and your testimony. Mr. McLaughlin, I appreciate you being willing to continue this briefly, to do some more information gathering. I will send out another invite, or I think we sort of resend the same invite with the new updated time. And so you all will have that within the next day. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to answer any questions. I can't really discuss the case with anyone while it's pending. You all can submit evidence, testimony, reports, studies, anything else you'd like to submit to me is fine, but I can't have verbal discussions with anyone about the substance of the case while we're continued in progress. And so unless there are any other questions right now, we'll leave it at that. I want to thank everyone again for being here. Mr. Tamarkin.
Yeah, I have a question. So if I want to submit something in writing to, based upon what I've reviewed, what I've done, I do that to you, directly
Yes.
to you?
Yes.
And where do I send that?
So my email address is in my little square there, but it's my name. It's David, spelled the normal way, .Sturkey. That's STURKEY, or turkey with an S in front.
Okay.
And then that's at Cincinnati-OH.gov, which is the standard email,
Right.
back half of every email in the city. So, all right. Thank you all again. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right.
We're continued.
And we're
and
not going
adjourned
to
for the
hear
day.
from the hillside today.
We will not, but he has assured me that he will be here for the 24th.